The wire transfer. Adapted from The $30,000 Bequest by Mark Twain. The email arrived at 6:12 a.m. between a grocery coupon and a calendar invite that had no right to exist. It wasn't addressed to "Dear Customer." It used Maya's full legal name, including the middle initial she only saw on tax forms. She read it twice before the words started to behave. A distant relative's estate, a bequest, a sum large enough to make her throat tighten, $300,000, pending verification. Her first instinct was to close the laptop like it had burned her. The second was to wake Ethan. But the apartment was still blue with dawn, and he'd come home late from his shift at the hospital. Maya padded to the kitchen, made coffee she didn't taste, and watched the email glow on her phone. Her pulse kept trying to turn it into something else, a scam, a mistake, a joke. From the bedroom, Ethan coughed in his sleep, the sound of a life that was, until this moment, exactly the size it could afford. She forwarded the email to him anyway, then sat with her hands around the mug, waiting for the day to decide what it was going to be. Ethan didn't see it until noon. He woke with the blinds throwing stripes across his face, and the familiar inventory already running behind his eyes. Rent due, student loan, auto draft, the credit card that hovered near its limit like a wasp. He shuffled out, hair flattened on one side, and found Maya at the same spot. She'd changed into leggings and a sweatshirt, but hadn't moved much else. "Are we being sued?" he asked, because that was the category his life was trained for. Maya turned her phone toward him. "I don't think so." He read. His eyebrows lifted in a way that looked almost like humor and almost like pain. 300,000. He said it softly, like naming an animal that might bolt. "It says they need documents," Maya said. "It might be nothing." Ethan sank into the chair opposite her. The kitchen felt too small for the number. "What would you do?" he asked, too quickly. Maya stared at the coffee ring on the table. "I don't know. What would you?" They looked at each other and, for a moment, saw not their spouse, but a person standing near a door that had never existed before. Ethan's smile tried to form. "We should be smart." Maya nodded. "We should be us." Neither of them knew yet if those were the same thing. By evening, they had a spreadsheet. Ethan made one the way he always did, with tabs and color-coded cells. Debts, emergency fund, someday house, retirement, lol. He typed fast, like speed might keep hope from noticing. Maya watched him from the couch, her laptop balanced on her knees. She opened a blank document and titled it, "Things We Would Fix." She wrote, the car's brakes, the dentist, the cracked tile by the bathtub that kept catching her toe. She added, "Therapy, if we can find someone good." Ethan called from the table. "If it's real, we can knock out loans and still have—" He stopped, searching for a word that wouldn't sound greedy. "Air?" Maya offered. He laughed once, then went quiet again. On the TV, an ad played for a travel app, people in linen walking along a coast. Maya muted it. "I keep thinking," Ethan said, "about not flinching when the check engine light comes on."
Maya closed her laptop. "I keep thinking about my mom's hands," she said. "How she'd count bills at the counter and pretend she wasn't scared." Ethan's fingers hovered above the keyboard. We could stop being scared. Or, Maya thought, we could become scared of different things. Outside, a neighbour's laughter drifted through the thin window. Their apartment held its breath.
The next day, verification began. Calls to a law office in another state, scanned IDs, a request for Maya's birth certificate. Each step felt like walking deeper into a story that might turn out to be a prank. They tried to keep their routines. Ethan went back to the hospital, Maya logged on to her remote job and answered messages with a practiced calm, though her attention kept snagging on the subject line: estate distribution. At lunch, they met on a bench outside a coffee shop, winter sun on their faces like a thin hand. "What if it's real?" Ethan asked. He'd brought a notepad instead of eating. Maya unwrapped a sandwich and didn't bite it. "Then we do the boring stuff first," she said. "Pay what we owe, fix what's broken. And after that?" Maya watched people pass. Someone pushing a stroller, someone walking a dog in a sweater. Ordinary lives, each with invisible math. "After that," she said, "I don't want it to turn us into judges, like we get to decide what everyone deserves." Ethan chewed the inside of his cheek. "My brother's going to ask." "My dad will find out," Maya said. They sat with the knowledge that money didn't just purchase comfort, it purchased new conversations, ones that had teeth. Ethan tapped the notepad. "Maybe we keep it quiet." "From everyone?" He looked at her. "From ourselves, too, a little, until we know what it is." Maya finally took a bite. It tasted like paper. That night, the argument arrived wearing the mask of practicality. Ethan stood at the sink washing dishes too hard. "We should put most of it in something safe," he said. "Index funds. Set it and forget it." Maya dried a plate, the towel moving in slow circles. "Safe," she repeated. "What?" He turned, water running over his hands. "You don't like safe?" "I like safe," Maya said. "I don't like set it and forget it like we're robots." Ethan's shoulders tightened. "We've been one emergency away for years. I'm tired." Maya put the plate down carefully. "I'm tired too. But you're talking like this is a rescue helicopter and we're not allowed to move once we're inside." Ethan stared at the counter. "Because if we move wrong, we fall." There it was, the fear that had been with them all along. Only now it had a new reason to speak. Maya took a breath. "What are you afraid we'll do?" He opened his mouth, closed it, then said, "I'm afraid we'll spend it trying to prove we're not the kind of people who care about money." Maya felt something loosen. "And I'm afraid," she admitted, "we'll spend it trying to prove we are." Water hissed into the drain. For a moment, they were quiet enough to hear the refrigerator hum. Ethan reached for her hand with wet fingers. She let him. 2 days later, the confirmation came as a PDF attached to an email with a law firm logo. It was dry, careful language. It made the number look almost polite. Maya read it in the bathroom with the door locked, as if privacy could keep the information from spreading through the walls. She sat on the closed toilet lid and felt her stomach dip. When she came out, Ethan was in the living room, scrubs folded on the chair, his phone in his hand. "It's real," she said. He nodded once, already having seen the forwarded message. His eyes were bright in a way that embarrassed him. "Wire transfer in 5 business days." Maya sank onto the couch. The cushions exhaled. Ethan sat beside her, but left a careful inch of space, like the money was sitting between them. "I called my mum," he admitted. "I didn't tell her, I just listened." Maya imagined his mother's voice, cheerful with exhaustion, asking about his schedule and pretending not to worry. "I didn't call anyone," Maya said. "I'm afraid my voice will change." Ethan looked at her. "Has it?" Maya tried speaking her own name aloud in her head. It sounded the same, but the room didn't. "Maybe," she whispered. "Maybe it already has." Ethan reached over the inch and rested his palm on her knee, grounding them both to the fabric, to the present. Outside, a siren rose and fell, the city continuing as if nothing had happened. On the 5th business day, the money appeared, with no ceremony. Maya refreshed the banking app 3 times, then stared at the new balance until the digits lost meaning. Ethan came home early, not because he could, but because he couldn't focus. He held a paper bag from the bakery downstairs like an offering. They ate cinnamon rolls on the couch, sugar flaking onto the throw blanket they'd had since grad school. The sweetness felt almost inappropriate. "We should tell someone," Ethan said, mouth full. Maya licked icing from her thumb. "Who?" he thought. "No one who needs it, because then it becomes a test." Maya nodded slowly. She'd already pictured her father's careful silence, the way he would refuse help and then resent it, the way pride could be both armor and weapon. Ethan set the bag down. "I want to do one thing that's stupid," he said. Maya waited. "I want to buy a chair," he said. "A real one, for my back, not from Facebook Marketplace." Maya laughed, surprised by the smallness of it. "Okay," she said. "And I want to replace the shower head so it stops stabbing me." They looked around their apartment, seeing it with new eyes, not as a temporary stop, not as a failure, but as the place that had held them. Ethan leaned his head back. "Is this what people mean by relief?" Maya listened to her own breathing. "Maybe," she said. "Or maybe it's just the pause before we figure out what we're supposed to do with it." The requests started anyway, as if the universe had heard a rumor. A friend texted about a can't-miss crypto opportunity. Maya's cousin called to ask if she could co-sign a loan just until things stabilize. Ethan's brother sent a link to a GoFundMe for car repairs with a message, "Thought of you." None of them mentioned the inheritance. They didn't have to.
It was the strange way need finds you when you're newly visible. Maya felt the old panic return. Not about being broke, but about being used as a solution. They made rules on a legal pad. No co-signing, no investing in anything you can't explain, no lending that will turn into resentment. They added a line at the bottom, in Maya's handwriting. Be kind without being reckless. Ethan stared at it. What if kindness is reckless? Maya capped the pen. Then we choose who we're reckless for, she said, and heard how hard it sounded. Later, while Ethan showered, Maya opened her banking app again. Not to check the balance, but to confirm it was still there, as if it might evaporate. She thought of her mother counting bills. Money didn't end fear. It just taught it new shapes. When Ethan came out, hair wet, he saw the legal pad and sat beside her. We should do something that doesn't involve us, he said. Maya understood immediately. Something anonymous. Ethan nodded. Something true.
They didn't donate to a splashy campaign. They chose the clinic where Ethan worked, the one that treated the patients nobody else wanted, uninsured, undocumented, complicated. Ethan filled out the forms on his day off. Maya sat beside him at the dining table, watching his handwriting, steady and precise, as if each letter could keep the gesture from becoming sentimental. They gave enough to fund a year of a part-time social worker. Not forever, not a grand solution. A year of someone whose job would be to make calls, find housing, argue with insurance, sit with people in waiting rooms, and translate fear into steps. When they clicked submit, nothing dramatic happened. No confetti, no swelling music, just a confirmation number. Ethan leaned back and exhaled through his nose. That's a lot, he said. Maya waited for regret. It didn't come. Not exactly. What came was a strange stillness, like setting down a heavy bag you've been carrying without noticing. Do you feel different? Ethan asked. Maya looked at the apartment, at the scuffed table, at the cheap curtains. I feel, she said carefully, like we just told the money what it's for. Ethan nodded. His eyes were wet, but he didn't wipe them. My mum would hate that we did it quietly, he said. She'd want pictures. Maya smiled. Then it's perfect. They sat there until the afternoon light shifted, the room changing colour around them, as if time itself approved without comment. The chair arrived in a tall box a week later. Maya installed the new showerhead with a YouTube tutorial and only swore twice. They paid off 2 loans, not all at once, but with the kind of deliberate rhythm that kept the number from turning into a drug. One evening, months later, Ethan came home and told her about a patient who'd been sleeping in his car. He met with a new social worker, Ethan said, hanging his coat. She got him into a shelter and started the paperwork for disability. Maya stirred a pot of soup, the steam fogging the window. So it worked, she said. It helped, Ethan corrected gently. It helped. They didn't talk about the inheritance as much anymore. The money sat in accounts and spreadsheets, but it wasn't the main character. Their days had returned to being about small decisions. What to cook, who to call back, when to suggest a walk. Later in bed, Maya rolled toward Ethan in the dark. "I was afraid it would change us," she said. Ethan's hand found hers under the blanket, warm and ordinary. "It did," he said. "It showed us what we're like when we're not cornered." Maya listened to the city outside, the distant traffic, a dog barking once, then quiet. In the dark, her voice stayed her own. "I like us," she said. Ethan squeezed her hand once, like a promise he didn't need to explain. And the money, for the first time since the email, felt almost silent.